I pressed the thing. In theory, we are live. Let's see if the YouTube backend actually likes it.
Maybe. Are you satisfied?
The YouTube backend says, "Yeah, that's okay to do. We're allowed to stream today. Hooray!" Am I satisfied with the video game? I think
Yeah.
you're trying to set me up to say yes, it is satisfactory, and I'll do it. I'll fall for it. I'll go right into that with you. Yeah, this is satisfactory. It is one of them factory games. So you don't have a tremendous amount of experience. Oh fuck! It's
No,
all
not
good. It's all
really.
fine. Ugh, get out of my way, critter! Wow, that's a big creature. Also, I flipped my car. Car, please. This could be a problem. That creature's out there, and it's probably mad. It doesn't seem that mad. I actually don't know how to flip. There we go. Okay, just get out and then press a button. Yes,
How long?
you don't have a lot of experience with these sorts of games, sort of.
Yeah.
Hold on now. It sounded like you were going to say more. This might be an okay time to say more.
How long have you been playing this game?
This particular, not all that long, or I mean, I've been playing. I don't know. Is the answer to that question. Critters. They're mad. Stop being mad at me. I didn't do anything. Brr. Okay. Picked up some people who are not fans, but that's fine.
Spent 45 hours building.
Okay. We're going to talk about why that's not maybe the best measure of the thing you're trying to ask me. But why are you asking?
Because I'm trying to do my part of the job where I'm alerting people to the stream existing.
Yeah. And that's important to it? The knowing how long I've been playing?
Yes.
Oh god. I am in some sort of nightmare bridge. Get creature out of way. Well, creature is get out of way now. So here's my thing. My base is built badly. I built it wrong out of stupidity. These look destructible. I built it bad, not out of stupidity. I built it bad out of just, when you start the game, you don't have access to all the technologies and the materials and stuff. And also, out of stupidity and laziness, I made some decisions, and now I have the tools to make different decisions. So, I have been just like limping along basically in the game up until now. Trying to open up this road a little bit, but gosh, these big... So the rocks shatter into rock pieces that have no collision, but it takes them such a long time to... Like, these are gone, right? Like, I can walk through them. But they still block my vision, and it takes them such a long time to despawn. But yeah, so I've just reached a new level of technology where I have access to oil and theoretically the things that come with oil, such as like plastics and whatnot. And so I am headed for a place where my resource scanner has told me there is likely to be a large supply of oil. You can see here on the map, it is far away, much further than I have ever been from my base. And then once we've sort of scoped that out and figure out how we want to approach that, we're going to come back to the base and we're going to talk about how my base is fucking horrible and the process of rebuilding it into something that looks like it's from the current era of technology. So that was my plan for the stream. I just thought maybe it would be interesting to sort of do on camera. You don't have a lot of experience with these games, so I can sort of like...
Well, yeah.
We can educate you about the thing, as a way of educating the people in the audience who are not super familiar.
Because Icarus is not one of these things. It has some adjacency to it, but...
Ooh, check that out.
That's a good tree.
This is a different kind of plant life than where I have started the game. Hey, you creature, get dead. Get out of the car. Finish killing the creature. These things shoot fireballs when they're angry at you.
Okay.
I'm not going to
Maybe don't make them angry.
They're angry at you if they know you're alive. To be clear, sorry, I should have clarified that.
Oh.
They hate that you are living. They are hostile creatures.
That's a common experience for me in 2026.
So that's my base over there with the space elevator going up to the thing that I'm building.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've played a little bit of Icarus, and Icarus kind of is and kind of isn't the same genre. This is so there's this genre of survival crafting games, and eventually survival crafting games developed and specialized to the point where there are games that are way heavier on the survival aspects, and there are games that are way heavier on the crafting aspects. Icarus is kind of it's trying to do a little bit of both of those things, but Satisfactory is all the way on the emphasizing the crafting aspects, in that it is and probably one of the foremost members of the factory survival crafting subgenre.
Okay.
Where it is all about not just crafting, but like taking the idea of crafting up to an industrial scale. So this is a totally different biome and set of flora than we have back by my base. The fauna is real familiar, though. Oh,
Hello, cornflakes.
Here is oh, Jesus. Look at the size of that
Hello,
thing.
Alex. Blue. Hello, imposing snail, who says that creature was remarkably nonchalant about getting run over.
Yeah, they all are. They're all really aggressive toward me on foot, and none of them recognize the vehicle at all.
That's fun.
So this game takes its survival elements very sort of they're so barely here. There are creatures in the environment that are hostile, but they're not really meant to be a big threat. I'm absolutely going to kill this thing by just hitting it several times with the car before it chooses to react to me.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the survival aspects, because you said, the place you're going is farther away from your base than you've ever been. And the thing I know from Icarus is that when you say you're prepared for something, you have like a quarter of the things you need.
That he's got a lot of HP.
So it's not much of a concern here.
Okay, no, I have a quarter of the things you would need to survive. The difference between you and me is I can improvise.
Yeah,
I'm improvising right now with the driving physics, can't you tell?
One of my favorite memories of Icarus with you is we were in a place with no resources, and what we were doing, we're timing our deaths so that we were close enough together, but not so close where we both would be dead.
Fucking tell me that's not improvising. I improvise with the game mechanics. So what I'm doing right now is testing to see if that thing or any other things are feeling... Oh, so it is definitely still alive. All right, hold on. I made myself a gun that shoots rebar. Let's see if I can... It's definitely injured. That was an overshot. Oh, it sees me. Oh, and I missed it. Ow. Okay. Here's the thing. This thing, it's very spooky, but it's not... Well, okay then. Apparently I had just barely not killed it before. I was going to say, it's not any danger to me because I can always just jump in the car and it will immediately lose track of me. So yeah, the survival elements here are, they're almost perfunctory. There are these big like poison clouds that you can't venture through on foot, but as you could see in the car, nothing affects me. The car is cheat codes. But I do want to remove a couple of these.
BVDDH says, in these games, I usually find the enemies to be more of a tech check than a real threat, to give another dimension to stuff you can build.
Yes, and that is true to different degrees in different games in the... That's pretty good. It's true to different degrees in different games in the genre. I would say like Icarus takes its like fighting stuff a little bit more seriously than this game does. And then I hear Star Rupture is going to be even more so, and there's a sort of a wide spectrum of ways to tackle this, and there are games at almost all points on that spectrum now. So we've just discovered, on our way to the place we were going, we've discovered a previous Fix-It employees crashed pod here, so I am salvaging their stuff. Can we get the drop pod open? It requires 15 circuit boards to repair the door. Well, I certainly don't have any of those. So I'm going to drop a map marker here real quick.
Oh, you're so prepared.
I don't think I know how to make those.
Okay.
Why would I just have a bunch of high-tech computer parts on me? Drop pod, 15 circuit boards.
Alex says, I think I would be the opposite of nonchalant to being run over. I'd be extremely chalant. I am right there with you. I'd be very chalant about it.
It crashed, and there's sort of like orangish smoke pouring out of it. So we'll go for like one of these. Apply. Okay. There you go. Anyway, back in the truck. We'll deal with that at some other point. The truck is this way. Or the oil field, rather, is this way. Oh, I'm out of gas. Right, gotta load more fuel into the fuel compartment. Huh. Oh. Oh God. So these little pods on the beach, well, this is great. You may notice they're sort of like emitting lots of small flying creatures at us. The small flying creatures, if they run into you when you're not in the car, they explode on you and do damage to you. You'll notice in the car we are completely fucking invulnerable because the car's cheat codes. I didn't even realize when I built it how insanely ridiculous it was going to be. But they just, like, by the time you can construct the car, they're just like, yeah, whatever. You get the fucking idea. You don't need to be tormented by this stuff. So we're just going to smash some enemies here at a distance. If I get close to the pods, the degree of overwhelm from all the little flying creatures can get a little... I'd much rather destroy this thing from a distance if I can. Okay, all right. We're all coming to party.
Hi, Lana. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, you know what? If we want to play with the car...
stream this morning. We should stream this early. More often.
You fucking mutant weirdos want to put... Did I manage to beach my... I perfectly beached the car on a piece of wreckage. Alright, okay. It's fine. We're out. This is strategy. Oh, it's using a piece of wreckage as cover. It's a very clever pod full of explosive bugs. I can't believe that thing is still alive. There we go. Okay. No more bugs. This is the last set of bugs. I'm going to get in the car real quick and let them all explode. Okay. Jesus. Found some computers.
Your health is pretty low there.
My health is pretty low. Hey, look, circuit boards. Wow. We'll probably just go back and fix that other problem real quick then. Some rubber. Wow. This guy had a lot of stuff. The previous crashed pilot here. Packaged fuel. Interesting. Those things out there, that big thing in the water, those things make a lot of noises, but they're completely non-hostile. So don't be worried if you hear a lot of large animal sounds. Am I running out of inventory space? I guess I'm picking up a lot of garbage off the ground. It's fine. This drop pod needs 300 megawatts of power rerouted to it in order to be opened. That's fine. We can make that happen at some point. I don't know if I can copy the details from one marker to another, but they're easy enough to set up. Sorry. So I feel like I keep interrupting you because weird shit keeps happening.
That's okay.
This one needs electricity, so it's yellow.
So how are you going to solve the problem of the beached vehicle?
I'm going to go over there and push it off. It probably is not actually an issue. It's just, something I had to get out of the car to do. And being in the car was a thing of great import to me at that moment. Where's the thing I couldn't pick up? This is 28 staters. I would like these. What am I carrying that I do not need? Because the car has a trunk. We can dump some stuff off. I don't need to be carrying the cart. That'll do for right now. Let me just grab this and move. Okay, so let me get out my thumper. We're just gonna thump this car back to reality. Well, that's not working. Amabel?
Yeah?
I am becoming concerned. It is inheriting no physics at all from the thumping. Backwards? No. Forwards? No. Turning the wheels? Not really doing anything.
Do you have a button to make it jump? Like the Mach 5?
No, there's a respawn button. Oh, that kills me. Why would that be the way the respawn button works? So, to be clear, the reason I was expecting a different functionality there is that Icarus has a respawn button. I'm intentionally not showing the factory very much as I start running back to my body. Icarus has a respawn button that actually it has an unstuck, like a proper MMO style unstuck button, which is a thing that you need in a 3D game if your collision detection is not 100%, which theirs isn't. It doesn't seem like they care. You know what? Let me use my... We're outside of the factory proper here. Let me use my zipline machine.
So we have some questions from the chat.
Yes.
Can you repackage the car?
That's a great question. We're going to find out all kinds of things about what the car can and cannot do when I get back over there.
Can you remove debris from under the car? What if you explode the piece of debris?
Yeah, my next plan was absolutely going to be detonating a mine under the car. Hey, you know what doesn't need to be here anymore is this.
I don't want you to take this the wrong way.
Recoup that.
But yeah. I'm absolutely certain that this is the most entertaining part of this stream.
What?
It's you in this car.
So everybody heard that, right? Everybody heard how Amabel doesn't think I'm any good at my job and is willing to just say so out loud. That's fun. It is what you said.
No, that's why I said. That's why I said I don't want you to take it the wrong way. No, because this.
I'm taking it the way you said it.
No, but I mean, this is funny. This.
Let me do something here.
I am being supportive.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There we go. So when you respawn, it respawns you with the gear you had in your active gear slots, basically. So just whatever you were holding. So we still have our thwomper for dealing with recalcitrant critters like this one, shooting fire at my face. How dare you? And I still have my jetpack, although I don't have any fuel, so the jetpack's not actually useful. And I still have my my leg jumper leg things, which is nice. It looks like I have about a half of a fuel rod loaded into the jetpack already. And then we have explosives with only one explosive actually in there because that's, the rest is in the ammo on my body. And we have the zip line. Hold on a second. I think I just saw... Oh, underneath all those rocks we blew up. Look at this. It's a cool S.
Cool.
The voiceless effigy creates bodies in airwaves but does not notice the shore. Is our melody not beautiful?
Detecting abnormal brainwave activity again. Activating artificial brainwave resonator.
Your shallow song has no rhythm. The river erodes our temples without prayers and washes away our scripture without deepening. Consume.
I believe this is one of those moments where the scientist would yell, "Eureka!" But that seems entirely too dramatic. It seems they are somehow organically emulating human speech. Fascinating. Continue exposing yourself to alien artifacts.
Okay.
So they're having some fun, you know. They're having a good time with the writing. I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious now that we are not in the car. I'm trying to avoid wildlife. We do also take fall damage. It is worth noting, although the fall damage is pretty lessened now that I have the fancy leg jumper modules.
So,
these.
From the chat,
Yes.
someone's
chat.
Imposing Snail says, in the future, nobody knows how to make the cool S anymore, so they become an incredibly rare resource.
Yeah, they just grow in weird piles on the beach. Yes, there's some plot going on with, like, you know, the stuff we discover on the alien planet being weird and some of it having sort of like almost eldritch effects. That's a power slug up there. So there's one thing this game has in spades is rewards for exploration. You really are encouraged to get out and do weird stuff, and I really appreciate that.
So I'm going to ask, how is the writing in terms of, you know, whatever bits of plot there are and like the actual prose?
I mean, sparse.
Okay. Well, that's an improvement over Icarus, you know, if we're going to compare the two.
They do get a bit chatty in Icarus. All right, I'm gonna stow this power slug in this Summers loop. Here's my death box. Take all. Okay. Anyway, next plan. Attempt to blast the car off of the thing. Let's see if the car inherits any explosion physics. It doesn't. Okay. Highly problematic.
Did that change the debris at all, though?
No. This is not destructible. The problem is I don't think that the car is going to be affected by basically anything we do to it. Right? It doesn't move at all when I bonk it. Amabel, I may have permanently lost my car. I like this car. It cheats. It is a rule-breaking vehicle. All right, car, you stay here until I come up with a better plan. I'm going to run back to that.
Can you build something underneath it?
No, I don't think that's going to work. I just won't be able to build in a place where the physics would disturb the car. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe. Amabel. That should not have worked, but extremely did. Good work. That was wild, the way it just fucking picked the thing up and moved it aside like that. In general, you just can't build in a space where there is a physics collision, but I guess the car, as with everything else, the rules are different for the car, and I should have known. Oh, I ran into a small tree. Hey, guess what? Bam. That thing definitely was not killed. That was a very low energy collision. But now that we have a little bit more space here, let me throw some other stuff in here. Like, we don't need to carry around all of my stators or 500 copper wire. There's so much stuff in my inventory. All right, 15 of the 75 circuit boards we just picked up gets me the hard drive from their pod, which no doubt will have some interesting stuff on it when we analyze it back at base. Okay.
Lana, I think that was a better suggestion than mine. I'm glad mine worked, but Lana suggested recommend building a second car to ram the first car with.
Possible. I did notice when we were looking at the deconstructor. Is this iron? Normal iron. Okay, interesting. I did notice that the deconstructor works on the car, and in some of these games, deconstructing an object gives you back, like, some portion of the resources, right? In Icarus, if you tear down a thing you built, you usually, if you deconstruct a thing you built, you usually get half of the resources, unless it's like a structural object, in which case you just get the object back. In this game, the deconstructor gives you back 100% of the resources, so it could have just unbuilt the car and then rebuilt the car. Oh, except I think the car is built from a workbench, so,
Okay.
Where is that? Jeez, it is a fucking like nightmare of enemies around here. Where's the oil thing? The oil field is up there somewhere. I am all turned around.
Ex Nihilus, next Deus Ex episode.
Sometime.
Probably sometime this week or next
Soon.
week.
Amabel is here and not feeling particularly ill, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Now we're all good and recovered now.
Yeah.
I think I killed most of the spider bugs. Oh, that one's alive. I say thee nay. So that I can pick up more slugs. Hooray! Delicious slugs. Okay, we gotta get to the high ground. I was kind of expecting the oil fields to be on the water, for what I think are probably obvious reasons. But it seems like they're up here off the coast a little. So there's the stinky, stinky poison lands. It seems like the poison gas area may be where we need to go. Let's just clean up the... I don't know if this is the only way to destroy these, but I do know it works, and I have...
Okay.
I have ammo, so...
Ex Nihilus, yeah, I am enjoying the game quite a bit. Certainly more than Vampire. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm positioned to replay it with a new build every NY.
New year?
New year, okay.
That was a little bit of an undershot. There's all kinds of different ammo you can develop for this thing, and I haven't figured any of that out yet. So you can see up there, there's another power slug. I missed, and I tried to fix it by timing the explosion. All right, we're opening up the terrain. We're figuring things out. So the different levels of power slug, the different colors of power slug have different amounts of energy because they're at like different points in the power slug life cycle. Yellow is better than blue. Purple is better than either. Yo, fuck this thing. Wow, okay, that doesn't even kill the big ones. That's crazy. Run around them. Well, that's not the button I meant. Alright, come and get it, nerds.
Man, that looks like a fruit.
It does.
Looks like a delicious fruit.
Yes, it is very easy the first time you see one to not realize how much danger you are in. Each one of those things making contact eats at least a whole bar off your life meter. So when it dispatches like 5 of them at a time,
Oh, I see. The little bars are incremental. I thought that was how many hits you could take.
No, it's like you have 100 health and each bar is like 10 health or something.
Okay. You
I don't know what
kids
you
and
mean
your
by
crazy video
incremental.
games with your 100 health. Back in my day, Mega Man had 30 health, and you knew exactly how much health you had by the number of sticks that were missing.
Okay. You were not counting those sticks in the heat of the battle with Metal Man.
I am, because I pause a lot.
with
Pause trick works.
With a Metal Man not quite breathing down your neck. Okay, it seems like we have depoisonified. Oh, I scared one of the critters. Seems like we've depoisonified this area pretty good. And this indeed, I think, is... Yeah. All right. So where is...
Famously, way to remove poisons or toxins from the air is to explode the environment.
Yes. Don't argue with me. Don't argue with me about science and progress.
I know you know more about science than I do. You've done important sciences.
Is that true?
You've been misunderstood.
I have been misunderstood. That's true. I've been accused of a lot of things. Never convicted. Oh, okay. All right. Nope. Okay. It's kind of a...
Maybe. Be careful.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. We're going to go this way. It's fine. I was not expecting this to be such a troublesome... I thought this would be a pretty... Like, we get to see some weird animals. But
you discovered the car's only weakness, which is terrain. And
just
it feels like a bad...
having to be driven. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to get out. We're doing it. We're getting there. Somewhere over here, I think. There's a power slug up there and another power slug up there. Also, more of these spidery guys. Oh, but that's oil sands right there. Hey there, Big Spicy. Guess what? Fuck you. Now, while it's weak. Get out and maul it with my thwacker. No escape. Ow, it is not trying to escape. Fuck. Okay. There is no escape, but I do need you to try. Because otherwise I look like an asshole. Got him. You see that? I got him. That was a little short. There's a ton of power slugs in this cavern. Actually, I don't... Am I hitting him? He's like buckling when I click, but I would expect if I was hitting him that he would react. More than that, like he would come after me. Nope. I was getting him.
This is scary.
These enemies are just not good at game. Not as good as me, obviously. What's scary? Spiders?
That spider, yeah. Hey.
Pretty scary.
Is there a way you can make that be not a spider?
I see, okay. If we encounter more of them, I will turn on the arachnophobia mode.
Thank you.
To be clear, Amabel is not actually afraid of spiders. She just knows what the game's arachnophobia mode looks like, and it thinks it's funny. Yeah, there's a ton of power slugs in here.
Correct. Yeah, the only thing I'm really like scared of in a phobia way are jellyfish.
Yeah.
As long as there's no jellyfish in the game, I'm fine.
I don't believe there are any kind of water-based hazards. There's not a lot of water. Well, there's a lot of water. There's not a lot of stuff to do in the water.
See, sometimes I feel like, oh, there's no water, I'm fine. And then they put a jellyfish in the game anyway that's like an air jellyfish.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And that's a crime. That's fucked. I don't like it.
That's a crime. So my jetpack has a limited amount of boost that it can apply per jump. So it's not like flight, but I can use it to do stuff like that. kind of looking around. Don't really know what I'm expecting to see.
Hi, since when it is another Sunday stream. Sometimes she's just like, hey, do you want to do a stream? I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Honestly, the first time we did a stream, there wasn't a thing we were doing. You're like, hey, I want to do a stream. I was like, all right.
Check this out. A Mercer sphere. These are super valuable.
Because I said all right,
hey,
I not to do streams every week.
Instruments echo in the deep. Do they not plug the shallow threads?
Can you hear me?
Crescendo, the effigy found the key. Sing more.
I was not created for artistic purposes. I am incapable of singing.
You sing.
Noted.
So yeah, the Mercer spheres seem to be, as I pick them up, the computer system seems to be actually able to talk to the planet? I don't know what's going on. They're all in kind of like weird, hard to find spots, and they are powering some pretty cool technology. So I definitely want to always get them when I find them. But like I said, the game really rewards exploration, and the map is quite large. We covered, since the stream started, we went from like here out to here and back again, and that's there's a lot. Use my jetpack to make sure.
I have a question about the critter that was horking fireballs at you.
Yes.
When is a fireball a potable?
A potable is not a fire. A potable is a god, is a creature. So this is a thing. It's a living man. They have eyes, Amabel. They blink. Okay,
it's the presence of eyes.
Yeah, just like a human is basically just anything that has eyes. So we found the oil that I was looking for. It seems there's a bunch of oil deposits out here that are. I was kind of wondering if they were going to be. I was kind of wondering if they were going to be like, it was going to be like a thing where we were building out into the water, but it's like a cave with oil deposits that's kind of near the water, and it's in this very uneven terrain. All right, let me see here. So in our personal building menu, our builder gun, I have the ability to construct refineries. I would need some motors, but the rest of these materials are pretty normal. Refines fluid parts and solid parts into other parts. Okay, so this isn't actually used to this isn't used to pull up the oil. We use an oil extractor to pull the oil out, and then we send it to a refinery to make it into stuff. So this is also made with motors. Extraction rate 120 meters cubed. 120 oil unit. A cubic meter of fluid is the basic unit of fluid. And this needs presumably 40 megawatts of power to run. The refinery is another 30 megawatts of power. Presumably there's some kind of oil-powered generator somewhere in my tech tree, which we're going to go home and check out. But I wanted to start the stream out with a little bit of exploration, just to kind of show like the terrain and the, the running around stuff. The game does not front load the exploration stuff. You start with a lot of like stand in place and like work out basic factory stuff. A lot of like really basic mining. You get the freedom to go and explore more later. I'm going to run real quick another oil scan. So I haven't figured out exactly how the scanner works in all of its capacities yet. It seems like what it does is it identifies every node of the resource you scanned for within a certain distance of you, and then also identifies the 3 closest nodes. So when I fired it over here, it took like 40 seconds and then identified 3 nodes in this area. So that's why I knew there was an oil field here. Okay, apparently there's another big cluster over there. Well, I guess let's make a note of that.
I think I broadly agree, Senswin, that ostriches are dinosaur muppets. It is crazy how good on you, chat. I don't know how we got to ostriches or dinosaur muppets, but I'm really glad that we did.
Yeah, that's good work. That's good work on everybody's part. So I did want to make sure that I saw all the oil that was in this immediate area before we go back. Looks like there's another couple of pairs.
Cornflakes has a gameplay question for you.
Okay.
So you mine and craft in the beginning?
I can't. Can everybody stop doing shtick at me for? That was a real Amabel kind of thing too. I just like, what if everybody was helpful?
I'm sorry.
So there's some more oil sands here and some more here. Okay, so there's quite a lot actually. There's quite a lot of these deposits. This area is heavily hostile, but I imagine if I built over here, that would get less true. I actually don't know how the monster spawns work. So it might be the case that. Oh, what is that? What is that? There's stuff. Man, but if I want to figure out the stuff, I gotta get out of the car and fight all these monsters. Alright. Hey, little guy. Fuck you! Do not drive the car into the ocean. I'm worried that the car, I would never be able to recover it. Ow. Okay. Now that one over there takes a lot more damage. And I am going to kill it, but I'm going to restore some health first. So I have some items here. Chomp. I have a number of health restorative items. I'm using the weakest one since we are in a non-emergency situation. These medicinal inhalers are like very fast full heals. I'll try to save those for like real fight times. Okay, that really went pretty well. So yeah, there's a nice cluster of these like oil deposits closer to the beach here. What I'm curious about are these little islands. Oh, hey, a Mercer Spear. Lucky.
Harvest the scripture. Compose it into a blood song.
Am I allowed to just swim over there? Okay. There hasn't been a lot of water yet in the game. Over where the base is, there is a hard coastline, but it's just a coastline off into an endless abyss. Not so much water. Oh. It's like a pretty little... I don't know what these formations are called in real life.
I don't either.
And here we have a geyser, which I guess we would... Huh. Because I can build water extraction just on the water. I don't need a geyser. So I wonder what the geysers are for. There's something over there. We're definitely going to go check that out. I don't know of any water wildlife. I'm not saying there isn't any. If there is any, you will probably... You'll see quite a reaction from me, I'll say that. So like I said, the survival, combat, hostile creature stuff here, it feels a little perfunctory. What was up here was the best kind of power slug. Look at it. It's so purple. I'm also hearing a lot of creature noises. Ah! Oh, okay. There's one of those things spawning dudes underneath the beach. Or underneath the little cap that we're on. There's a summer's loop over there. Oh, God. Oh, it's surrounded by those things. Oh, God.
Since when the game they're playing is Satisfactory?
The game they're playing is called Satisfactory. She also believes that it's pretty all right.
I mean, you seem to be having fun.
It's a fun little name that they cooked up.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing, sweetie.
Uh-huh.
You've been playing this game for tens of hours, so it has to be good.
I don't know if there's tens of hours. I've certainly left it running for tens of hours. There's a different. We'll talk about.
Okay.
We'll talk about a thing when we get back to the base. Ooh, pure iron ore, right across the water from. That's interesting. That's good news.
But it would have to be a good game for you to be putting this time into it.
Sure, like blueprints.
That was your job. You've been doing this recreationally.
Listen,
Also,
all video games are my job.
I think Blueprints is great and terrible at the same time. Often
Like
for
the Dawn.
same reason.
Sure, yeah.
Sensewin says, for some reason, I thought Satisfactory was a 2D top-down resource management game.
You are thinking of Factorio, probably, which is very Satisfactory-like, but as you noticed, 2D and top-down.
Are those spiders?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to a place where I can do the thing. It's in the menu.
Yay!
It's in the menu, so you understand it's not trivial to activate. All right. Engaging arachnophobia mode. I don't know exactly where it is. Accessibility, probably. Arachnophobia mode on. All right, everybody ready? Fucking brace yourselves. When the game has arachnophobia mode turned on, this is what the spider creatures look like. Oh, I hate this. Look and sound like. Oh, that one just ran off a cliff. So
much. Oh, that one's dead.
So it changes the corpse, but it doesn't change the collectible item the corpse leaves behind, which is just like a mass of spider legs. So you would think that that would still, I don't know. I will say I do think that they're creepier in arachnophobia mode because of the sort of the unnatural sliding motion. But they don't seem to bother arachnophobes as much, and that's the actual point. So good on them. That's a poison flower. Do I have? Yeah.
Chad, I'm pretty sure she has not played and will not play the Blueprints DLC. That doesn't feel
There's DLC.
like a thing. That's what Chad's saying.
Weird. Why would there be a DLC? Okay, never mind. I started to ask the question, then I realized I don't care. This would require... Oh, we have that. A little bit of door repair here will get us another hard drive. My inventory is pretty full. I should have driven the car over here because there's lots of stuff. There's lots of room in the car. But I also do have just like a lot of garbage in my inventory that we can throw away. Oh, the hard drive stack. Interesting.
It always did underestimate the power of a single cosmic ray, flipping the right bit at the wrong time.
Hey, 17 motors. We needed a bunch of motors. Okay, so these poison gas flowers, real pains in my ass. I am trying to investigate the environs. They're very sturdy too. They do not go down to just anything. I gotta wait a second for the gas to dissipate. 108 plastics. Yeah, I need to make some inventory room. This is ammunition. I don't even know. I'm not sure I'm going to pick that up, but we do need to make some room. I have so much stuff. Why do I have so much stuff? Why do I have so many different things? You know what? I don't need to be collecting creature parts right now. I'm just going to turn them into alien proteins and then not make use of them in any way later. 32 spitter remains. Jesus. Okay. Well, I'm glad we came over here. Glad we saw all this stuff. We didn't pick up the Summers loop that initially brought me over here because I got distracted. So that's about as much lift as you can get from the jetpack on a single jump.
Okay.
We didn't pick up the Summers loop because of the enemies around it. So let me figure this out. First of all, like I said, just real quick, pump some health. These weird looking flowers are also food if I need it. But I have a huge supply of this barrel, these barrel nuts because they're kind of everywhere. How much rebar do I have left? Very little. Okay, yeah, I'm like almost out of combat supplies. By which I mean high yield weaponry. Well, alright, I let every single one of them hit me there, but we did kill the nest at least. And you can see I was close enough, even just being up there, I was close enough that the one on the other side was spawning things. Unfortunately, the creatures do not fight each other, but they will make lots of faces and noises at me. You know what?
There's someone in chat claiming to be your cousin.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Hard to imagine that someone would pretend to be my cousin. That's probably actually my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, hey, Kyle. How's it going? Can you imagine how sad your life would have to be to try to get some clout by pretending to be my cousin? Okay, narrowly survived. Free cool ass. I don't know what these are for. I don't think I've ever used them for anything. Just more weird alien technology on the weird alien planet. Anyway, let's get back to the car and get back to the factory, and then we can start phase 2 of the stream, which is talking about how my terrible factory. But I hope this was like interesting. You know, we got a little bit of exploration. We saw some stuff. We know now what kind of situation we're in as far as the oil goes. I needed to see it with my own eyes.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Back to the place. What?
I am kind of hoping you get stuck again. I know that's not helpful. But the car gets stuck again, it'd be very funny.
Wait. Okay, this one needed power routed to it. That'll be easy enough to do when we're setting up the refineries over here.
I don't want to hit the guy. Okay.
They're sturdier than they look, is what I'll say. It basically just stops the car. They look like they would topple real nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much. How did I get up here? Wait, this is not going to work. I'm sure the car can't handle water.
Don't you want to explore and find out?
What is it with you and just like wanting things? Okay, here's the pod. This is how we came down. But we came down off of the thing there. I'm not 100% sure how to get the car back. I could get myself back. We could abandon the car, knowing that we will be back for it eventually. But let's try to find a way to drive out of here.
I am being a delight is what I'm doing. We're doing an entertainment product. I'm being entertaining.
I didn't say you weren't being a delight to the viewer. And I guess that's good. Thank you for managing the entertainment level of the product. but also I'm a little stressed. So
I'm sorry. It's just you're handling things very well, so I did not really. I'm not really perceiving the stress.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Am I? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think so. More than I would.
Fuck. Shit. Fuck. It's fine. Okay, I hate this. I hate the narrow ridge next to the infinite abyss.
Yeah.
But this is the way back. We did drive over this on the way in, so at least I know we're in the right spot. No. No, 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 no.
Oh,
no,
oh, oh.
no. Okay. The good news is the stuff that's in the car, in the trunk, is not really valuable. If we end up losing the car, it's not the end of the world. Perfectly stopped on the environment. So yeah, like a game like Icarus has a lot more emphasis on the survival component. Icarus you have to eat. There's weather. In fact, the greatest threat to an explorer on Icarus usually is the weather, not the wildlife.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. In this game, you do not eat. There's no thirst or hunger to manage. You don't have to sleep. And all you just saw, I think, the most difficult enemies that the game has to throw at us. It's not about that, really. It's not about that life. It's about me flipping my car over every time. The area I chose to build my base in is very rocky, and there's a lot of trees. There were a lot more trees once upon a time. All right, so here's my base. We'll leave the car here for a second. Wait, how much fuel is in it? Okay, half a stack. Okay, so here's the thing about this base. Like I say, you're not given access to all the technologies and everything at first. Nor a sense of the scale that you will have to build up. I'm just giving everybody time to have the panic attack now. So my current factory looks like this. You can see in the upper right corner there, my primary objective, which is to complete phase 3 of the space elevator, requires 2,500 of that thing and 500 of that other thing. And if you've been paying attention, during the time that we've been playing here, that first thing has been under construction the whole time. This is an active assembly line leading to a constructor for that first thing, pumping it into the space elevator at a rate of something like 1 per minute or something. In the end, because of how inefficient the factory is and how cobbled together all my processes are. And at a rate of 1 per minute, the 2,500 of those that we need will construct eventually. I am not ashamed to admit that in the previous phase, the numbers weren't nearly this high, but in the previous phase, I did definitely have a period where I just left the game running for 5 hours to build the thing while I went and did other stuff, because I was like, well, I don't want to revolutionize my factory now. I don't want to tear it all down and fix it now, because I know I'm about to get access to another tier of logistical stuff. So if I can get to my hub over here. Those red lights are supposed to be red. Nobody panic. If I can get to my hub over here, you can see what we're doing. We have a set of active objectives in the top right, and then we also have our milestones. And the milestones are all like theoretically optional. And you can see I've done many of them, but not all of them up to this point. But many of them are not actually optional, in the sense that, like, completing phase 3 requires 500 modular engines and 100 adaptive control units, and those are parts you unlock the blueprint of by completing this particular milestone. So some of this stuff, you work your way through it as you're going. I have recently unlocked like oil processing and all of the stuff that is part of that, and a higher level of logistics with the new conveyor belts and stuff. So I feel like this is the time probably to start figuring out how to make my shit function.
Okay.
There's this hypertube research that we could probably do relatively easily, but these hypertubes are only for people movement. They're just for getting me around quickly, which is not usually the big problem. The big problem is routing the resources around quickly, right? Fluid packaging might also be a thing that we might need to think about, because now we're like, right now, sometimes machines require water, but now that we're going to be working with water and oil, you know, some stuff can get more complicated. Petroleum power. Yeah, being able to run a generator off of oil over in the oil fields and not having to try to figure out a way of getting coal over there could certainly be helpful. But also the power, you know, I can just connect it to my existing power infrastructure, and electricity travels pretty quickly, it turns out. In the end, we have to get to the industrial manufacturing milestone finished so we get access to these 2 blueprints so that we can build those 2 things. And we also have to build a shit ton of frameworks. You can see 498 now. It's going. But the fact is, like, trying to make sense of this now as it is and like nudge it piece by piece, I think I'm just gonna tear the whole thing down. So who's ready for that? Who's ready for the fun logistics challenge that I'm trying to make this stream?
I am.
Okay.
Yay!
So I might want to put some stuff away. My storage box is pretty full. Because when I deconstruct things, I'm going to get back not only the component parts, but also the stuff that's stored in them. We should drop off those hard drives. It takes a little bit of time to decode a hard drive. These are the hard drives we pulled out of those crashed pods. So we'll drop off our hard drives. And I guess let's start doing the things. So at the core of all these processes is pulling resources out of the ground, right? Right here we have a miner. This is just pulling. You can see when I pull this apart, it's going to give me those 4 things on the right are all the stuff that a miner Mark 1 is made out of, and then the thing on the left is the 98 ore that is just sitting in that miner, because the miner is pulling stuff out of the ground and moving it along the belt faster than my smelter can currently handle it. Because the smelter is making it into bars, the bars are getting through faster than the assembler's taking them, and like you can see like the whole factory is a nightmare of inefficiency, where like a lot of things are just sitting dead on belts while other things are getting sent out, but there's big gaps in between them because the different parts of the factory are all working at different speeds, and oof, I say. I'm probably going to leave this little bit over here up. This is a tiny little, like a self-contained bit that's working off of a copper deposit over there that's just making like copper wire for cabling, because you need a lot of cabling.
Okay.
And the cabling part works fine. It's very simple, but this whole bit over here that's making like iron and steel, this has got to go. So I think I am going to start at the miners. We're just going to tear everything down, and
I was hoping you'd like blow stuff up.
no,
This is less exciting.
I'm sorry.
You got me really hyped this morning.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, no, don't delete the power line. Hold on. The power network's got to go down too. Yeah, the power network's probably got to go down too, huh? I'm not going to dismantle the hub. The hub can stay. Certain things are going to stay. This stuff back here, I'm probably going to leave in place for a moment. But everything in this area's got to go. So I'm just going to start tearing stuff down. We're going to maybe lose some materials, but who fucking whatever.
Alex points out.
But who fuck and whatever.
It's a funny thing with games like this, because the logistics is both the core of the game and sometimes the most tedious part of the game.
Yes. That's because of the nature of logistics. That's not the game's fault.
Yeah.
As a person who has worked in professional logistics, let me tell you.
Yeah.
You didn't know me back when I was a logistician. But I know.
I did not, but you told me some stories.
I know so much about freight and bills of lading, you would not even believe it.
You told me about some units of measure that I did not know about.
Huh. One of the buildings had stuff left in it, And when that happens, stuff that I couldn't fit in my inventory, and when that happens, it gets left behind in a little crate. I don't know why it has chosen to put the crate up there, but I guess we'll have fun accessing that in a few minutes. There's definitely going to be some crates left in the grass.
Cornflakes points out Satisfactory is also bad in terms of restructuring because of no real blueprinting. I'm not.
So there is some kind of blueprinting functionality. I don't know if this is always in there. I've only started playing the game very recently. I do not know how it works, but I did unlock it.
Is it more efficient to demolish and rebuild than just make another factory?
I want to use the nodes that this factory is made out of.
Yeah.
The base resource parts. Should I have just started building a new factory over where the oil is, I guess, is an interesting question. But this is where my space elevator is.
Okay.
I could probably tear that down. I'm a fucking...
You just need a really big conveyor belt from
the
oil
answer to every
field.
question really is I don't know.
Okay.
So please forgive me my ignorance. And that's also definitely like powering a little bit this strategy of let's just tear it all down. But I kind of just want to start clean because I think that I've really made a lot of whack.
No, I get it.
I've made a lot of whack decisions here.
Right. I've been there with some games as well, you know. I
hope
you
this
mentioned
is
the
like
nature
an interesting process. We'll see.
Yeah, you mentioned the nature of logistics, and I remember one of the earliest games I did that like took off for me was a game about managing supplies during the American Revolution, and I had pitched that to so many publishers, and they were like, "No one's gonna want to play this, you weirdo. No one wants this." And it turned out to be like a really big hit. So there are people who are interested in pretending to do logistics, at least.
Like I think there's something I might go so far as to say even inherently entertaining about low level simple logistics problems.
Yeah.
I think there's really something to that. Connect this directly to that. I definitely have like redundant power poles and stuff. Each power pole can only bear so many power connections. And so part of the reason there are so many power poles is because I needed, I was adding machines between machines after everything had already been constructed. So what I've chosen to leave in place, I built the base up here in a place where there was an abundance of iron. Because at the beginning of the game, all you need is iron. You just need a lot of iron. Eventually, we came to value coal. And I discovered that there is a big coal deposit right over here. So we have this sort of the goofy coal staircase and the four coal power plants that are now running the whole base. I've left all that stuff in place. This stuff was built with more modern technology and with better routing in mind. So you can see like the coal is coming up very efficiently. We have access to a lot of coal. And then the coal that's coming up currently is being used with a reasonable miner built on a iron thing here to make steel and steel parts and whatnot. So like I think this stuff's fine. I am also pulling up a strange alien material because it turns out that if you start building your base up here, what is this doing? If you start building your base up here, there is actually a deposit of some kind of the purple alien metal down directly below the base. You don't need a ton of it, but I set up a miner down there, and we have a ton of it sitting now because the storage container is full. I'm going to leave that all alone. That's all fine. I also have like way over here somewhere. It doesn't automatically draw your buildings on the map, but way over here somewhere I have, it's over here. There's another coal deposit producing more coal and sending it along. That's what this belt is that runs from way in the distance, delivering all of these steel pipes. Because it turns out you need a lot of fucking steel pipes to make a base. So this is my steel pipe machine. Which is currently, that stuff's all fine. It's just the little bits in the interim that needed to be fixed. So the space elevator has 3 input ports on that side and 3 input ports on this side. I think that's all of the inputs. Yeah, so we have 6 input ports for it. And right now, like I said, we don't even have access to the second and third designs for the things we need. All we can make is that first thing. But I want to try to do that in a way that makes a little bit more sense. A way that is a little bit more purposeful and a little bit less like desperately cobbled together. So we have a normal iron ore deposit over here. We also have on the other side of the elevator, or the other side of the space elevator, a couple more iron ore deposits. These ones are both rated impure, I believe, which I think means that the miners get less ore out of them per minute. So I have Mark 1 miners and Mark 2 miners. Mark 2 miners have a default extraction rate of 120 resources per minute multiplied by the resource output rate of your mine based on, the thing I just said. So, this node over here is going to produce the most iron per minute for us. There's so much stuff in that. Boy, everything went into that box. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to have happened. Let me dump this in here for a second. This here is my dimensional depot. I put stuff in here and it gets uploaded until it's not my problem anymore. I can access stuff that is in the dimensional depot as though it was in my inventory, but it's not actually in my inventory. Hooray! So, yeah, like I was saying, we'll make use of the parts in that in a second. This needs a miner, and we should probably make the best miner we can. We have all the parts except for the portable miner machinery, and I did notice some portable miner machinery in here. Can I stand on this? Does this have collision? It does. Cool. So here's what we're going to build that miner out of. There's a lot of screws and ore and stuff. Yeah, okay. So, miner, Mark II. This belt might have to get moved. Hold on. Let me remove this belt. Okay, I don't know what we want to do with the cable that's coming out of that, but we'll do something with it. And let me also actually, while we're looking at it, chainsaw. Let me deal with this tree real quick. Okay. There are still power cables that are connected to the old biofuel generators that I used to run my base on. It probably behooves me to pull apart the power network a little bit just to figure out what's what here. Anything that's running to here is not a meaningful power line in the first place. By which I mean you could say that it and I are not seeing eye to eye. Amabel.
Yeah. I think
because it's not.
I think you're right. I agree with you.
Because it's not a real power line.
Yeah. What? Are you making a reference to a song again?
Did anyone in the chat get that? Was that a good, reasonable thing to do? I guess, okay, we already have a connection across here. I'm just trying to make sure everything's remaining connected to the power grid. The power's all being generated down there, remember? These biofuel generators are out of date, but they're part of my hub, so they're not getting removed. The hub is a necessary building. Okay, so now that that's been done, now that we've cleared the space, this is a legitimate bop, and I'm shocked that you don't know it. You ever see a Goofy movie?
Oh yeah, I saw a Goofy movie.
Yeah, the power line. The cool celebrity that he wants to see.
Okay.
So cool, okay. He had to be played by Tevin Campbell.
Who's that?
Exactly. It was the 90s, Okay, so the basics. get your basic miner up, and this is going to need, we're going to need a power pole over here for distributing power to this and the things that are powered along with this. Bam. Okay, so each power pole can only hold 4 connections. If we're just using the basic ones, there are higher level power poles that have more connections, but also the cost of just building a second tier 1 pole is so cheap, and they don't limit the amount of power that goes through them or anything. Okay, so this can mine iron ore at a rate of 120 ore per minute out of this thing. Great. Let's talk about how we're actually going to make the object. So we are given, for production purposes, constructors and assemblers. Constructors can make one thing into another thing. This is how you make ingredients that have only one precursor part. You know, wire is made from copper ore, or from copper bars. Cable is made from wire, and so on. Assemblers let you make parts that have 2 prereqs. So, you know, you make a motor out of screws and rods or whatever. We will need an assembler. We actually cannot handcraft the part that we want. We will need an assembler. So we're just going to put this assembler over here where it feeds directly into the base. Right, that should, ooh, does that, no, the belt's not going to be happy. Placing stuff when you're really close to it is kind of a crapshoot. I should back up. We need assembler. There we go, like that. I want to give it a little bit of space in case I need to insert something into the middle. We'll call it like that. That should be good, right? Yes, that belts naturally. Okay. So we're making versatile frameworks. Versatile frameworks are made of modular frames and steel beams. Modular frames are another part that is made of 2 different parts. We need iron plating and iron rods to make a modular frame. Steel beams are just made out of raw steel. Because steel beams are made out of raw steel, this machine over here, these are steel beams. This machine over here is a steel beam assembler. This is functional and in place already, so that's easy enough. But we would want to make, we're gonna need to make some modular frames, right?
Okay.
So these are gonna require iron. We can feed the thing into there like that. Easy. To make modular frames, we need, like I said, reinforced iron plates and also iron rods. Now, unfortunately, reinforced iron plates are also an assembler part made of normal iron plates and a whole lot of screws. Iron rods are a single part just made out of iron. So this assembler is going to need to be fed by an assembler and a constructor. And you can see we're starting to already kind of have space problems here. Right? If I put down another assembler here, we're all the way back to the miner already. This gives us no room, no easy, like we can't just build it in one straight line. My space elevator is too damn close to my resources. So we're going to have to build a thing that kind of snakes a little bit. Right?
Okay.
Fortunately, I can afford to just lay down stuff as an example because I get all my parts back when I break things down. So we're going to put down an assembler here facing the other way, with the idea being this is where we'll make the frames, and then we'll just belt it around like this, right? And then we'll build, nope, that's not the right thing. We'll build another assembler here. This is where we'll build the reinforced iron plates. Belting it around like this, right? And then we just have some iron rods getting pumped out and brought into here. we have this little our S curve of productivity, and that gives us all of this room to assemble the other things. In theory, it takes up a lot of space.
Curve of productivity.
No, nothing is cool about productivity. I can't help but feel like the fucking man. And I spent a lot of years in therapy, and I'm taking currently a lot of drugs to not feel that way. Okay, so this is making reinforced iron plates. This is making modular frames. And then this is making versatile frameworks. So this is not probably the right speed, but let me just run these down here. So we create the belt. That's going to feed the steel beams in. Mm-hmm. We'll get our rods from somewhere. Rods are really easy to do. And then this machine needs iron plates and screws. Both of these things are just made out of... Well, sorry, screws are made out of iron rods. This one's made out of raw metal. This one we need an assembler for. So let's make an assembler. Or a constructor, rather. Okay, we want a constructor. I'm gonna intentionally put a little bit of room in here. I'm not gonna build these right next to each other because I know a thing. I'm thinking a thing. We'll see if that turns out to be foolishness later.
Xenon in the chat says, by the way, SB, some weeks back on the stream, you talked about Paradise. Started watching with my partner after that. Now on second season, we're really enjoying it. So thanks for the tip.
That is so rad. I'm so happy to hear that. I love me some Sterling K. Brown. I watch anything Sterling K. Brown is in, honestly. He's just good. He's just good. He's fun and good to watch. That Hotel Artemis, absolute C- movie, buoyed, I would say, all the way up to a B+, just by the presence of Sterling K. Brown. Anyway, so sorry. Really though, I am really happy to hear that is working for you. That's cool. It makes me happy to help people find cool things in the world. What are we doing? Rods? Now I'm all discombobulated. Iron plates and screws. Okay, so screws are made from iron rods. Okay. For visualization purposes, I'm trying to set these down in a way that's really easy to read. All right, so we are going to need a smelter. Smelter is just going to take, as you would imagine, the raw... let me stand over here while I'm doing this. Smelter is going to take the raw metals and produce from them bars, which we will use to do other things. Okay, the belt works. We're going to replace some of these belts later, but for right now the belts are for spacing and proof of flow. Because the game can be a little finicky sometimes about what it lets you connect with belts. If the things are close together but not exactly on axis, it gets all wiggly. You know how that is. So, raw metal bars are coming out of this thing, in theory. Not raw metal bars. Metal bars. That's the opposite of raw. It can produce... Let me actually... What is the rate on a smelter? It doesn't actually say what the maximum rate is. If I feed it in with a faster belt, does it change what it says on the thing? No. Okay, so it can work 30 iron ore per minute. Amabel.
Yeah.
Do you detect a problem with that?
30 iron ore per... Yes?
What's the problem?
I'm enumerate. I'm bad at math.
We're pulling 120 iron ore out of the ground every minute, but we're only able to process 30 of it.
Okay.
So there's a lot of capacity here that's going to waste, and we're going to be using a lot of iron in this process. It's worth looking at these other machines here. Like we're going to be making screws, which the screw machine can take in only 10 iron rods per minute to produce screws. Like, these things all have a rate at which they produce the things, and this starts to introduce slowdown. Yeah. If we just have one line of machines, no matter how efficient our miner is and how fast our conveyor belts move, we end up moving at the rate of production of the slowest machine in the line, right?
Yeah.
No matter how fast all the other machines are, 10 iron rods per minute ends up breaking down to, like I said, the final machine in the line here producing maybe 5 versatile framework per minute if you're able to feed it all the parts fast enough. It's like you can run into a lot of slowdown. So
is the desire for efficiency entirely self-driven, or do you have deadlines for the things you're doing?
At some point, I will die of old age.
Okay.
Which is a thing that I said and you laughed about, but it was only like somewhat a joke, right? Like, it is the case that it's at some point like you need to get these things finished. So if the smelters we have can only process 30 ore per minute, what should we do?
Only pull out 30 ore per minute, or have more than one smelter?
Or have more than one smelter. There you go. Yeah. In theory, we can run 4 smelters in parallel, right?
Okay.
Off of the amount of ore that we're getting here. In theory. I'm explaining all the problems with all this stuff slowly, bit by bit. Fake Alex Blue says in chat, there's a point with games like this, I think, where it tricks you into doing work, and then you start to think, hey, I'm doing all this work, why aren't I running a profitable space mining company?
Because you have morals.
Well, yeah, mining in particular. So in theory, we run 4 of these, right? And then they each have their own outputs, and we can feed more than one of these machines. It doesn't all have to be in line. We get some parallel processing going. However, we start to run into like real world space problems here. Like, and when I say space problems, I don't mean like outer space problems. I mean like physical space problems. I put these down as an example, as a visual aid for how wide they are and how wide the outputs are going to be. But like even this immediately doesn't work because I need to have room to put a splitter down. So actually, let me pull these all up. So we may need to introduce some additional building space to the area. And do you know how we would do that?
How?
Vertical parallelization. Make it go up.
This is how you got to... Okay.
What?
Nothing. I'm going to let you do that. I have to run to the restroom, so I'll be right back.
Okay. So we're going to build here a conveyor splitter. We're going to feed in a conveyor belt. Conveyor belt Mark 1 only runs 60 resources per minute. Conveyor belt Mark 2 is running at the same speed that we're pulling the shit out of the ground. Conveyor belt Mark 3, which is really expensive to use, is actually better than our miners currently are, so there's not really any point in doing that. One thing that this game does that's really nice, though, is it lets you do in-place upgrades. So, like, at the point at which I have a miner that can pull out more stuff, I can just click Conveyor Belt Mark 3 on the Conveyor Belt Mark 2, and it will replace it without breaking it and give me back the old resources. And that's really nice, and not all of the logistics games let you do that. Okay. So, we've got our splitter here. This is going to split the outputs evenly over the output evenly over the 4 or the 3 outputs, I believe. which means that we still need tier 2 belts coming out of this thing for the moment. Huh. Hey, since when? I would love to know what you mean by this. This might be a real problem. Since when says, I love how SB says basic concepts in the most comp sci major way. Yes, I am a comp sci. Obviously, I did major in comp sci when I went to college. Can you enumerate for me what you mean by that? If it's a problem, I can fix it. If it's a problem, I can try to fix it, is what I'm saying. I think the way I initially said it kind of sounded like I was yelling at you, and I don't mean to come across that way. But if I can express things more clearly, I would prefer to, obviously. So, like I said, we got 3 equal outputs now, each of them outputting, and it's not like you're always going to get 40 material out of each one all the time, because they are smart enough that if one of the belts is backed up, it'll put the stuff coming in out of the other belts. But we definitely still want to use the tier 2 belts at this point. So, well, except for the ones that are going directly to a smelter, because the smelters are only taking in 30 units per minute anyway, right? So, like, the idea would be you would run a tier 1 belt to a smelter over here, and a tier 1 belt to a smelter like here. Is that... Oof. That's probably not... That's probably not going to work. We have to be a little bit careful about our space here, but I do think we're gonna start moving things upward from here. Oops. Input on this side. Is that close enough? Yeah, that'll work. And then this can feed into... Oh, see, we're having a problem here. This cannot feed into here. So I need to move this one forward a little bit. This should be fine. There we go. Is this running? Okay, you're gonna make iron ingots. You're gonna make iron ingots. We're going to make another power pole here. We'll put it like right between them. You got to think a little bit ahead about your power distribution, because like it's very easy to go, just connect them both to this pole. But if we do that, then this pole's at its maximum connections, and there's no way to get another pole set up already, right? Okay.
Have returned.
Thanks. Thanks for that. So this says it's receiving no power. That shouldn't be true. Are you not connected to the rest of the grid? No, you're totally not. This power pole over here is a power pole that I set up for grappling around, not for actually being connected to the power grid. Okay, that ought to fix that. Now we have electricity running through these machines. I was like, why is it not actually pulling anything out of the ground? But there we go. It's doing stuff now. Okay. So we can feed material out of the box there. Okay, we would like to run to 2 more smelters, right? At least. Mm-hmm. Which means, unfortunately, with these splitters only having 3 outputs, having a thing want to go 4 different directions is actually like very awkward. Sorry, I'm trying to stay high up while I'm doing this for visibility purposes, not just for y'all, but for me. Okay. And then the idea would be to have another smelter. What's up?
Oh, I was going to engage with the chat, but go ahead and finish
Please,
it.
no, please do.
I'm not sure where this came up, but since Wynn says it's funny when you're explaining things to Amabel, who strikes me as a more arty type of thinker. IYKWIM.
If you know what I mean.
Oh, okay. and probably, yeah, I'm definitely more of a humanities bitch rather than a STEM bitch.
Yes, and since Wen had pointed out that I speak in a very comp sci major sort of way, and I will, you know, I did major. I was getting a software design degree, but I was dual majoring in English literature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely that stereotype. I am many stereotypes. I'm going to put this other smelter here.
I think the mutual love we have of art.
See, look at this shit.
Okay.
If things are too close, but the axis, you're not totally on axis, it does this when you try to connect them. This is what I was worried about earlier. Okay, we're going to have to move that. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I love that this is a thing that we have a lot of overlap with games and with art, but also a lot of differences. Like, there are a lot of types of art that you like that are not for me, and vice versa.
Yes, certainly true.
I tend to like a lot of older things, for example. And you're like, why? There are new things.
That's not exactly how I phrased that, but I understand what you're saying.
I'm saying it affectionately with love.
Yeah. There's probably output room here. Okay. So, if the belt will actually work here... Oh, it lied to me. That's still too steep. Sometimes it shows a little guideline. If you put the things exactly on axis with each other and close together enough, it'll sometimes show you a little guideline that tells you, hey, these are lined up and you could definitely belt this. And it lied. It showed me the line, but it did not mean what it said. This is why I'm thinking, like, I kind of want it to be, like, pointed this way, actually. I'm just trying to make sure that we actually have room for the output. Because we're going to have to take these outputs and move them upward. The height is being a little bit of a problem.
No, Alex, I do not think her taste is trashy. I like a lot more trash than she does.
Okay, first of all, that's not correct. And secondly, I'm the one who said my taste was trashy. I frequently, in fact, say that, so.
Yeah, but you're wrong. You're wrong about that.
I'm not. I know. Hey, listen, I love my trash. That's going to be a tier 2. Okay, so in theory now we have 4 belts feeding 4 smelters. 7 brides for 7 Super Mario Brothers. So let's form a power line to here. And that's going to run from here to there and here to there. And let me just have a look at our power grid right now. So our power grid is currently producing 375 megawatts of power.
Okay.
In theory, if all of the machines that we currently have were all connected to the grid and they were all on at the same time, they would consume 285 megawatts of power. If your current consumption ever goes above your production, if the orange line ever crests the gray line, for whatever reason, the dark gray line, then the grid freaks out and blows, and everything has fuses in it. You just have to go flip a fuse. But that's the thing we have to be wary of. It is unrealistic that all of the machines we have would be on at the same time for the moment, but at some point it is going to be the case, hopefully. So we need to be paying attention to that and install more power if more power is needed.
I have 2 Mario questions for you, since you mentioned Mario.
Why? Okay.
Because you mentioned Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Is Wario related to Mario? Are they brothers or cousins?
Wario is some kind of gremlin, I think. Wario is a supernatural fucker.
Is Mario or Luigi the older brother?
I think canonically Mario is. Okay, so I didn't build the fourth smelter facing the same direction as the other three. I hope you can forgive me. Because we just need the space. I hope that's clear. So, to feed into our grand machine, this guy needs steel bars and frames. We're on it, right? Those two belts are connected. This guy, producing the frames, needs reinforced iron plate and also iron rod. We can build a constructor coming right off of one of the smelters for the iron rods. The reinforced iron plate is the other belt. So let's talk about iron rods. Let's make that the backward facing one. Just because it's the one that's like going to be out of line with what it's producing anyway. So if we build a constructor here, makes one object from one input. Don't fall off of stuff. Stay on top of the object while you are building. See that? Look, you see the guideline there? It's telling me that it's in place for the belt. We shall see. The smelter is theoretically putting out 30 iron ingots per minute, so it should be the case that we can just use a tier 1 belt, which moves things at 30 units per minute. In here, shouldn't be a problem. We configure this to make iron rods, one of the most basic parts. Now, apparently we can only process 15 iron ingots per minute here, so if we want to get our efficiency, this needs to be split and actually put toward 2 different iron rod constructors, right? And let me tell you something. We want that efficiency. We need a lot of iron rods over the course of this process. So let's build another splitter.
Alex says, I think I always assumed Mario and Luigi were brothers in the sense that they were close friends who lived together.
No, they are, you know, they're fraternal twins. They look so gosh darn same, like the same. You ask if they want an ice cream cone, and they both say yes.
I understood that reference.
I wonder if anybody else will. That's a real old reference. All right, so we're going to build a constructor here for iron rods. We're going to build another constructor over here for iron rods. Well, what's up?
I remember the time we were hanging out with
I'm gonna
your
put it over
mom.
here.
Put on a video about pregnant Luigi. That was pretty good.
What on earth? What does the game think I'm trying to do? Yeah, could you say that again, perhaps a little louder? You put on a video about the pregnant Luigi meme in front of my mother. So you were like, oh, this is interesting, isn't it?
No, you're the one that put it on.
I don't think that doesn't sound right.
That was not me.
Doesn't sound right.
The last name is Mario. It's Mario, and Luigi,
Mario. Yeah.
Alex. I don't know what their middle name is.
Who says they have middle names?
They're Italian.
They probably have like the maternal last name thing, and then it's all the whole thing. They got like six branches of names. Okay, so in theory, we are now putting out iron rods at a rate that is the rate of iron rods that we can put out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm so glad you agree, Amabel.
Alex, it's like you've never seen any of the Super Mario Super Show.
Please do not harangue people.
I'm not haranguing.
Is she haranguing you?
You
don't have to let her do that.
The parts of culture that they haven't been exposed to.
Okay. So we got to get iron rods into this machine, right? We got to get iron plates into That's a problem for that belt. But this other thing has to take in the iron rods that we just started building. Now, the problem is the input thing is over here, and the output thing is fucking in Siberia. So, how are we going to solve that problem? That's right, we're going to build a conveyor belt that goes all the way around the planet. Brilliant, Amabel.
You solve all your problems with belts. This reminds me of my dad.
Jesus Christ. That went from an innuendo that I was happy to play along with to a whole different category of things so quickly. So we're going to build here a conveyor lifter, which is a machine that elevates or diselevates a conveyor belt. We're going to build over here on this side a conveyor lifter. I cannot believe you said that shit to me. Holy hell. What did I do to you? What did I do to you that could possibly deserve?
I'm making a joke about my childhood. That's allowed.
Is it? Criminy. Then we're just going to run a really tall conveyor belt. And it's going to have to cross a lot of space, so we're going to have to, route it through some things. There's a limited distance to how much you can build a conveyor belt without putting down a stand. As you can see here, it is too far. So we're going to have to create some intermediary stops. But there we go. In theory, that now runs iron rods all the way out to this machine. Or at least it will once we power these iron rod machines. So, to that end, let me grab this power cable, extend a new cable off of it. This is the cable for you and you. Okay, and look at their little arms now, pressing the metals into shapes and doing stuff with them. We have some extra iron rods here. Let's talk about rate here. So we're outputting 15 iron rods per minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
The machine they're going to can handle them coming in at a rate of 12 per minute. So actually, we already don't need to try to get that rate up anymore. This machine is doing what it can. So what are we going to do with those extra iron rods? Well, I'm glad you asked. We have here a machine that needs screws and iron plates, right?
Yeah.
Iron plates are just made of raw iron ingots. That's real straightforward. We're just going to connect this to one of the smelters. Iron screws are constructed from iron rods. So, one of these constructors is just getting fed the extra iron rod machine output. And I'm probably going to do another elevator, I guess. Seems like a reasonable thing. The tier 1 elevator lift is a 60 units per minute thing, is a 60 units per minute conveyance. So it should be able to handle this no problem without introducing any additional slowness. It is currently kind of blocked by that weird crate, but that will not be a problem forever. I wish so. If it's showing blue, that means that it's all good. You build it there and it's totally fine and nothing's in the way. If the belt is showing yellow, that means it is clipping in a purely cosmetic fashion. The belt will work just fine, but it might look silly because it's like breaking through something. And it really bothers me, and I really want all my belts to be blue. I know that that's silly.
It's not silly.
Okay, so 10 iron rods per minute. Again, they're coming in faster than that. So this machine is doing what it can at the rate that it can.
Okay.
You can just grab directly from one of these. And in theory, we now have a machine that is producing the stuff we want. This takes in iron ingots at a rate of 15 per minute. It doesn't have any power. Hold on. Sorry. One part of the machine that I forgot to do was the part where everything is connected to the power grid. So you're 4. Okay, I'm going to grab from this here, put a power panel right here. Okay. So that runs all those, and then from this, we're going to splice another pole here that will control this machine and this machine and this machine.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
And then I should actually connect the thing to the output. Okay. So at this point, right, screws and pipes in. Wait, this is producing. This is not. Oh, this machine is marked wrong. Sorry. This is supposed to be producing iron plates. Now I gotta clear these bars off of the belt because I goofed. There is a set of. Is there a way to flush this? There's like a you can kind of see there's like a one set of iron bars left, and I need to pick them up, but I can't target them. They're inside the hitbox for the assembler. Oh no, Amabel.
Oh no.
I can unmake the belt because they're an item on the belt, and yeah, that just put them in my inventory. Okay, there we go. That should get a clean pass through. So,
Sense Wind says, "Seen it all at once. I'm kind of with cornflakes and yearning for platforms."
So now we're producing iron plates. Iron plates in plus iron rods is producing the modular frames, or at least it will when an iron plate actually gets finished. But here, note, we're only actually able to output 5 iron plates per minute. Even if we're getting an optimal input rate, which I don't think we are. This is able to output 20 iron plates per minute. And this is able to output 40 screws per minute. So you can see this machine could take in 50% more than that. But even if it was running at totally optimal rates, it's only outputting 5 reinforced iron plates per minute. It takes 12 seconds to make a reinforced iron plate. This thing actually can only even process 3 iron plates per minute. So, look at how long it takes to build modular frames out of this. It's outputting 2 of them every time it does it, but it takes a full minute to build those 2. And so then this machine is only getting 2 modular frames per minute, and then it's building them into 2 versatile frameworks at a rate of 5. Like, the process slows down tremendously. And so once again, now that we have a process that is working and it's like loaded up with steel beams, it's waiting for the modular frames to come in. When the modular frames come in, we're again looking at sub 5 per minute input on a thing that I need to make 2,500 of.
Oh.
So the idea with continuing to make this more effective is that at this point in the thing where we have machines that are rate limiting each other, we would balance it by producing more of these assemblers, right? If each of these assemblers can take in materials 50% faster than the prereq constructors can construct them, then what I want to do is build 3 constructors, merging their feeds into 2 assemblers. which allows both of the assemblers to operate at maximal efficiency, producing 10 iron plates per minute. And then we want to run multiple modular frame assemblers so that we're getting more than 2 modular frames per minute, so that we can feed them into the versatile framework assembler. And, you know, like I said, the space elevator has 6 input slots, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is a sort of a minimal construction of what it takes to semi-efficiently produce a single versatile framework output. And like, how are we going to have enough space to do this 3 times over here and then another 3 times over there? And each one of these things needs to be run off of its own iron node, right? I don't have 6 iron nodes. So then you start like going out into the world, and like there are iron deposits over here. There's some iron deposits over here. And you start running more and more of these hi, critter. They're bouncy. You start running more and more of these like super long conveyor chains. This is neat.
Yeah, have you bounced on them before?
I didn't realize they were bouncy. No, I've never really had occasion to jump on one of them. I have not had the jetpack for very long, so
Okay.
definitely never been up on this part of the space elevator. So yeah, that's the amount of space we're running just for that. You can see how we could maybe plug another one of those in here, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Use this to accommodate some of the parallelism, but that only gets us one more construction. But yeah, like this is at the very least what I've done here is like cable management, you know?
Yeah. How are you feeling about this? How this looks?
This makes me feel a lot less stupid. Looking at the previous thing, I was like, who would do this? And I know that's unfair, and I would never judge another person. If you showed me your factory and it looked like that, I would never be like, oh, so you're dumb. But for me, you know?
Yeah.
So theoretically, our max consumption is like quite high now. But we have grids like resting in the slowdown from other grids and stuff. And oh, look at that, we've been playing for 2 hours. The game notifies you every 2 hours. It's like, hey, you sure? Sure. You sure it's the life you want to lead?
That's fair.
And so like we could get even if we had access to better miners and better smelters and stuff. The slowdown is in the actual construction machines.
Mm-hmm.
So those power slugs I was picking up earlier, you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
You can refine the power slugs into these power shards. Just solidified power slug mucus. Awesome. And then you can install a power shard into a machine, and it will increase the speed of the machine. And so for like the things that are your slowdown points, for example, like this terrible modular framework production. We can do this, and we can press the overclock button. I guess it's on now. Okay. And so part of what you're getting out of the exploration aspect is you're finding more of those power slugs, and so you're getting more cores that you can install to speed up your machines, to reduce the amount of space that you need to spend on parallelizing and whatnot. But if you notice the power draw here, when we increase the speed, it also increases the power draw. And so you have to be careful of your power grid as you're doing these. It does so in a power inefficient way. It's like for every 50% production speed you gain like 100% power draw or something like that. So it's It would be better power-wise to build another machine rather than doing this, but in this case, where that machine also would necessitate the build of some other machines, it's probably still more power efficient.
Okay.
So yeah, you have a limited number of power cells based on how much of the map you have explored, how many slugs you found.
Okay.
And like the different colors of slugs are in, like it's easy to find blue ones and slightly harder to find yellow ones and slightly harder to find purple ones. So when you refine a purple one, you get 5 shards instead of 3 or whatever, So that's the idea. I think that's kind of a cool way of running it. I think it's an interesting way to give you a factory logistics based reward for exploration. So if we turn this up, it can benefit from 4.5 plates per minute now. Turning up the rate of plate output already would, we already are not feeding in stuff fast enough to be producing the plates at the right rate, right? Yeah, we're having some idle time while we wait for materials to show up. So if I wanted to increase the rate of this if I wanted to increase the rate of that output any further, I'd have to increase the rate of this output, and that would require either more input machines or increasing the rate of output on both of those things as well. But we could do that. We have the shards. Like you're only getting 10 iron rods per minute, so if I do this, it's pulling the full 15, and that's 15 is what we're actually getting. So I haven't experimented too much with actually using the shards yet. What's that doing for my power consumption? Oh, we're fine. We're not even close to... In theory, like our max consumption's getting kind of high, but... So you're outputting 20 plates. This thing could eat 45 plates per minute. And you're taking in 30 ingots to do it. But 30 ingots is what I'm producing, right? Yeah. And if I wanted to produce more ingots, I'd need more ore, which theoretically is faster than your share of the thing, but the belts are not all being used. I think it's okay to turn the rate on this up. I think it will actually get fed 45 per minute. Yeah, the conveyor belt moves 60 per minute. Yeah. So we install a shard there, we install a shard here. And we're fucking with the power, but we're not fucking with it too much. 6.8. Yeah, so it's not 100%. It went from 4 megawatts to 6.8 while gaining 50% production. So it's a little power inefficient, but it's not as bad as I said. Screws are coming out at 60. And this thing is potentially eating 90. But the iron rods are a problem now. But that's fixable, because you know what we could do is we could just jam one of these things into the iron rod machine. I don't know. So what do you think? Like, you've now got a little bit of an understanding of this thing?
Yeah, it's a lot. I see why you like it. I definitely think...
To be clear, why I like it is it lets me dissociate and helps me stop thinking about the world.
Well, yeah, and I see how that'd be good for that as well.
I have an anxiety disorder that is triggered by reality.
And look, I have at this point had like 90 board games come out and like I've worked on 50 or 60 more. That's not because I'm healthy or good at handling stress. Right? Yeah, I mean, I would say, having played Icarus with you and watching you do this, like, the survival aspect and kind of lower level crafting of Icarus is more my speed than this is. But I absolutely see where this appeals to you. 'Cause you like a complicated logistics thing.
I was wondering why we weren't doing things, but I had deleted a power connection and then not reattached it. Well, I mean, I like complexity, certainly. I find complexity kind of calming. Just complexity for its own sake.
Yeah.
I guess, which is kind of a weird thing to admit.
I don't think it's that weird. There are a lot of people that are like that.
It would be better if this were producing faster, so I should really replace this with a miner too. Which is going to involve 2 of these guys. Oh, it's true. I don't have any spaces in my inventory. You know what? Fuck this shit. There's so much stuff in my inventory right now.
I will say, whenever we are wrapping up, I have one more thing for us to look at.
Yeah, is it a randomly rolled Sega Genesis game?
It's not. It is not.
Weird. So you can see what I'm talking about here. A little bit of I can just like point at an element and click, and it just replaces the tier 1 belt with the tier 2 belt completely in place, which is really nice without disrupting anything. This also needs to be a Mark II belt. This also needs to be a Mark II belt.
Your cousin says complexity can definitely be fun, and Sense Win says complexity makes me more anxious.
Yeah, I experience the function of a complex thing causes me to experience wonder.
Mm-hmm.
That is very, yeah. I guess that's it. I guess that's the long and the short of that.
You know, I don't like. I've played some roguelikes in my time, and I like them all right. They're interesting, but I like reading about them more. I like the experience of the complexity of the world more than me playing them. So, like, reading back when I could go on a fandom wiki without being worried about it giving me a virus. I would read like wikis for like these games and all the complex stuff in it. And I think the experience of wonder is something that I get it. I get it is what I'm saying, and I think wonder is something that I don't know. I don't want to say it feels undervalued, but yeah. No, I agree with the things you're saying, and I'm just trying to say them again over again. Amabel, is the rule set for a board game not also a complex machine? It can be. Some of them are very complex.
There's for sure differing levels of complexity in that.
Like most of mine are, I think, pretty simple. People will tell you that they're complicated, but compared to the other games within my space, they're really not. And a lot of that is my own ability to have like cognitive load. Has to varying degrees been diminished at various times, so I want to make sure I can remember the rules to the game. But I certainly have appreciated more complex games lately. From you, sweetheart, showing me these games and why you love them. Like, one of my favorite board games now that someone else designed that I play is Great Western Trail in New Zealand, and that's fairly heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of my own games are getting a little heavier, which is a little tricky. because I'm not used to working in that space and at that level. And it's been really great to be able to bounce ideas off of you. I think because, we have kind of like the artsy-fartsy overlap, but because you also have more of that comp-C background, things that I wouldn't necessarily think of because I don't think in that way. I don't organize my thoughts in that way. You've been a tremendous help.
Or at all.
My games are better because of you.
Sorry.
My games are better because of you.
16. I'm trying to rebuild this entire belt now, this very, very long tier 1 belt, to accommodate a higher rate of resource exchange. And each unit of, like, each little light area costs of an enhanced iron plate at Mark II. So I'm having to build a lot more of them. So, like, when you start the game, you have your hub, and you just have the crafting bench, and you make things by hand. And you make things by hand by holding down the craft button. So, like, I have some iron ore in my inventory, or some iron ingots in my inventory, and I'm going to make some iron plates. And that involves me holding down the button I'm holding spacebar for 3 ticks, right, to produce the recipe. And this is how you do everything initially. And you can get through the first stage of the space elevator like this. It's a little tedious, but you can. But as things begin to, as the required quantities begin to tick up more and more, it starts to get less and less feasible to work this way. And eventually, at this point, you literally cannot. The flexible plating object is not craftable on a craft bench. It eventually gets to the point where you can only make these things in the machines. And the game expects you to have figured out kind of like how to factory a little bit by that. And you're unlocking pieces of logistical technology bit by bit over that time. But that's part of why the factory looked the way it did is you start with just the most basic constructor and you're doing half of your builds by hand on the crafting bench. And like right now, I'm having to do a lot of hand crafting reinforced iron plates because the process that we have running is already running a deficit of iron plates. Like this is the thing that our machine doesn't do well enough already. And so I don't want to skim some out of the machine. It feels better to just make them with my hands and then go and install them. Portion of belt.
Xenon mentions a history book that talks about the Renaissance in detail, and I'll say I think a lot of my love of history is a love of that kind of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Of the way there are 100 things feeding into everything.
Yeah,
and one of my favorite books is a book about the 80 years war, 30 years war. 30 years war. 80 years war is different. A book about the 30 years war, which does cover the 80 years war because they overlap. And like the first, 200 pages or 300 pages maybe, is just like the history of all the various social and political and confessional struggles that all fed into making that war, that conflict, terrible conflict happen. And like that's the most fascinating part of it. Is just like all that stuff and all that history stuff, all that stuff intersecting. And I'm glad I read that because first of all, I got a pretty good game out of it. After so many years, and secondly, because I had some knowledge of that period. Of that background and of the Protestant Reformation, you asked me to be your guest host for your series on Pentiment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time you had me on this channel, and now you can't get rid of me.
So what you're saying complexity also has downsides.
Oh no!
I love you very much, and
Love you very much.
I would never want you to be gone from the channel. You improve things tremendously. Also, you're like an actual smart person who knows what they're talking about, and that's something that's in some desperate need around here.
That's not what they say in the comments on those Deus Ex videos and vampire videos, but okay.
Yeah, people are a little aggressive, in a way that I would prefer they would not be. About the vampire, I knew we were kind of like, after a certain point, I knew we were kind of treading on some maybe messy ground there, in the sense that that game is very well liked, you know.
But why though? But I mean, mostly it's people who I don't think any of them are in the chat. People who because I don't play video games well, because I play video games about as well as your mom would.
No, you're a damn sight better than that. You've never really seen my mom try to play a video game. It's really something.
But because I don't, a lot of things aren't intuitive to me. Some people are a little mean about it sometimes in the comments, and like, don't do that.
Yeah, please don't. Okay, if I did the math right, this should be enough to wrap that whole belt. 15 iron plates. I think it was 14. But yeah, so like this is like the handcrafting experience obviously sucks. In a lot of other games, there's a way to like, if I had to craft 200 of something in Icarus, I would put all the materials onto the appropriate crafting bench. I would say run recipe 200 times, and then not only would they not require me to hold the button down, but it's actually the bench, not your character, that does the crafting, and you can walk away and do other stuff while the recipes run. Here, they really want you to get out of the habit of doing stuff with your hands as fast as possible.
Well, this is where you have your girlfriend pop into your server, and just her job is to hold the button down.
I would never. How dare you allege that I have done that?
I'm not alleging. I'm saying I would do that for you because I love you.
All right, so I think this belt is now Mark II the whole way down. Oh, no, there is a Mark I section that escaped my notice. Oh, no, and it's long, too. All right, 16. But that's the last part that's Mark I, right? Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure everything, and you can see how the pieces are spaced out after the mark. Yeah, damn it. All right, 16 more, hooray! It turns out the end of the machine can only be as efficient as the beginning of the machine. So I need 96 iron plates. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely like a very different sort of focus on many of the same ideas, and the other factory production survival crafting games, all have sort of a variety of different levels of focus on the monster fighting and the exploration stuff, and we talked about Factorio came up earlier. Factorio has, I believe, more monster fighty stuff. It also is, there's a lot of, man, every time I see a screenshot of somebody playing Factorio, there's so many belts involved. And generally I'm pretty like pro pixel art and stuff, but I have to say the looking at Factorio makes me unwant to video game.
Okay.
And that's a feat for me. I really. I'm really generally pretty ready to video game.
Is it just it looks very dull, or is it like?
Yeah,
really...
I think there's something about the way they've chosen to represent the art. It just looks like looking at it makes me feel like, oh, I do not want to wade through all that muck, and I can't really quantify that any further.
But it's not like something that's like hideous, like Cruelty Squad.
No, Cruelty Squad's different than that. I would say. No offense meant, of course, to anyone who is into Factorial. I'm sure that it's whatever it is.
Mr. Lord Wah says, I own Satisfactory, but haven't started playing it yet. It's on my backlog, but with Phonopolis, Thick as Thieves, 007 First Light, Mina the Howler, all just this coming week. It's probably gonna be in the backlog for a while, I guess.
It's real. It's a real time. I'm definitely looking forward to Mina the Hollower. That's probably happening on the channel.
Yeah. I want to look forward to the James Bond game, but I kind of hate James Bond. I really like the Hitman games. Like I want them to have games that do well.
Yeah.
As at studio.
Okay, so now we have coal coming in at 90 units per minute. Iron coming in at 90 units per minute. We upgraded the miner. We upgraded the conveyor belt. We upgraded the foundry to be able to handle 90 units per minute and output steel ingots at 90 per minute. Then upgraded this to be able to handle the steel ingots at 90 per minute to output 22 steel beams per minute. Which are getting trucked over here. Sorry.
Xenon says they had that Factorio graphics reaction to Amber Spire.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I think, yeah, Amber Spire has it has weird graphics. They advanced them to say, I don't mind the way it looks, but I could absolutely see someone minding the way it looks. So let's see here. This could bear up to 2.5 modular frames per minute. This is still limited by the rate of steel beam income. How fast are the beams are coming out of that machine at a rate of 22.5 per minute? But they haven't been for very long, right? Yeah, it should be pumping. Yeah, it's pumping constantly. It has steel ingots. So it's doing 22.5 per minute. They're moving down the conveyor belt. So 22.5 per minute is a little bit less than the rate that this thing wants for optimal speed. But to get us up to 30, I'd have to push the rate of ore construction and stuff even further. And like the materials are getting used at exactly the rate they're coming in at. This thing is not going to produce ingots faster, even if I put more power cells into it, even if I put more slugs into it. So the foundry is the bottleneck here, and that is a difficult bottleneck to fix. That means that if we wanted to run, even if we wanted to run another parallel framework factory, we'd have to use another source of coal to do so. And there are not a lot of sources of coal around. Because all of the coal coming out of that deposit down there is either running on this belt or it's being used to power the power stations. It's being used to run the power stations, which obviously we can't cut back on because we need the electricity. And in fact, if you noticed, I don't know if people saw last time I looked at this, we have now pushed our theoretical maximum consumption to 425 megawatts, which means that our grid's no longer actually solid. Like, I should go and install more power plants, which is going to require another source of power from somewhere, which probably means that the next thing to do is go set up that refinery structure. figure out a way to power the refinery structure that just involves the resources out there, and then connect all that to the power grid once we are running at an excess out there, so that the power grid, the excess power from the refinery area, feeds into this grid and safeguards us against the overages here. And so, like, part of it is, you know, like, I should be going faster, right? 586 now. We are going faster than we were. But you're not intended, even at optimal processing speed, to be doing these in, like, 4 minutes, right? The goal... Hey. It's supposed to still take a while, because that's how you get, like, you're like, okay, I need to let this run for a while. What else could I do? Well, you know, there's all this map, right?
Yeah.
When I, like, all of this stuff that's revealed over here, I didn't drive over here because I was going to a node or anything. I was just like, well, it's going to take 45 minutes for the next step of this thing to run. What should I do in the next 45 minutes? And so I just was like, well, let's go see what's over there. You know?
Yeah. I do know.
So yeah, that's kind of that's what Satisfactory's doing. I hope that has been for people who were not like fully aware of the thing, or for people who just wanted a little bit more insight. I hope that's functional as insight.
I think so. Maybe I think you're good at your job.
We're still only outputting 30 iron plates per minute.
I do think the most entertaining part was when the car was stuck. But it was all entertaining. It was just a high point. You peaked early.
Yeah, thanks. That's great.
I love you.
I love you too, sweetie. And you know, it's cool to watch. It's cool. It is kind of cool. Again, just as a person who is sort of calmed by complexity, it is kind of cool to like just pick a perch and sort of watch all the little machines run. And this is the same value I get out of shapes, right? And the same value I get out of other stuff. Icarus does not really do that, because you don't see the complex things happening in Icarus.
Yeah.
Icarus is way more about the battle of human versus wild. Will you survive the volcanic ash storm, and all that stuff? And we have found that to be pretty compelling, right? Like we have had some real cool adventures in Icarus.
And some real dull ones too. And I think there's something. I think there's something about, you know, there's something that Tarkovsky said quite famously about cinema, and that it was, you know, sculpting in time. But I think that's so much more true in video games, because there is just time that's kind of dead time that you are experiencing. You are setting the pace of the game, and you experiencing it through the lens of that game does give it some kind of meaning.
Sorry, I am listening to. I'm also trying to catch up on the chat a little bit.
Okay. Like I enjoyed, you know, dicking around with you for a couple hours, you know, building stuff in Icarus, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's that challenge in Icarus, but there's also, like, you know, the challenge of go to this distant place that is through a very hostile biome and find out what happened there. We had a base and it's gone quiet. Go figure out what happened. And then you know the reward of, okay, great, now we're going to annihilate it so there's no evidence for the other corporations to use, and you get to see an ion laser be fired from orbit up close. That's pretty cool. That was a fun time. People in chat are saying some things that I do wanna mention here. People are talking a little bit about Annie Austin. Since when says I showed an Annie Austin video to my dad and he was concerned for Austin's mental health. I'm a big. This is probably not going to shock anybody that I'm a huge fan of Annie Austin, Annie Austin and Memoria and their whole deal. Yeah, those videos are great. If you enjoy the stuff on my channel and you are not hip to Annie Austin, I would definitely recommend checking out some of his videos about which road signs are valid in GTA and if the power lines could actually be functional. And they really are sort of fascinating to watch, because they're not just like, it's not just like, haha, this doesn't conform to standards. You know, they're glimpses into like, what is the mindset of a person who is developing this thing, trying to create a feeling of verisimilitude without having to actually create verisimilitude, which would be incredibly complicated and doesn't necessarily have any benefits over the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Austin's just he's a funny guy. He's got a very fun sense of humor, and he's got I think a very charming delivery. There's more than a little bit of Joe Pera to it. You know, sort of a very slow rolled, straightforward, deadpan kind of like matter of factness that is just very funny when you're saying certain kinds of things. I guess that's also a recommendation for Joe Pera. If you're not into Joe Pera, perhaps you should be. Yeah, so I don't know. Hey, look, there's so many little conveyor poles, because if you build a conveyor belt and then you delete the conveyor belt, it doesn't delete the pole that the conveyor belt was sitting on under most circumstances. So there's a large amount of conveyor poles hidden around the landscape now from when I deleted all those belts. We're just going to find them one by one over time. I also need to figure out, I need to like actually sort through this box and put all the things somewhere. Mostly it's just a lot of iron ore. So one thing I was doing before, we're not doing it at all here. But one thing I was doing before in a couple of places was I had in places where the input device was making stuff way faster than it was being used by the output device, I just planted a storage container between them. And so the overage would slowly fill the container, or sometimes not very slowly. And then I just had a huge supply of thing that I could go pick up for handcrafting, because I was still doing a lot of handcrafting at the time. So that's why this looks like this, is you could see the storage container full of screws and the two different storage containers full of iron ingots and that sort of stuff. I do think we'll take these frameworks, these statters. These are things that I should actually have and will make use of. Some cables, some plates. But yeah, most of this stuff needs to get transferred to like the nowhere zone. Slowly, because of course my access to the nowhere zone is somewhat limited. So I said before, the Mercer spheres are valuable. I haven't shown the research thing yet. We'll talk about that in a second. Start scanning that other hard drive, please. So as you discover things, this is another place where you're rewarded for exploration, because you discover different things in the environment and then you can use them to research. Mercer spheres are used to improve the function of the dimensional depot, the number of stacks of things that it can hold, the speed at which they upload, and this one here, which enables me to upload stuff directly from my inventory instead of having to run over to a box, which I couldn't do before because I didn't have access to the way to build computers, and I still don't. I think we still need that input, but we found some computers at one of the crash sites, so actually I could do this right now. I need 29 SAM fluctuators, which is like 180 of those. Where's the alien materials box? Here, I need 2 stacks of that. I don't need 2 iron ingots in my inventory. Okay. Amabel, do you have any other thoughts or questions?
I don't.
Okay. So if we need to
I think you
make
did it.
30 of these, roughly 30 of these, I need like 150 wire, and I need 90 pipes. Well, good news on the pipes is the pipe machine is totally full. We're not pulling things out of here anymore. So actually, yeah, it's completely trivial to just grab pipes and wire. Because we could stop, or I could start. I could try to start setting up that refinery.
Well,
You have stuff to do.
I do have stuff to do. But before, so if you want to stop, we can do that. But before we do, there is one more thing that I want to do, because someone in the chat expressed surprise that the Mario brothers were related to each other. I did find a Mario family tree.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it'd be fun to look at that.
Is this an official Nintendo product or?
This is someone who's just gone through the various Mario media.
Okay.
This is a thing for Reddit. I think that'd be a fun way to...
All right, hold on a second. Let me let me construct 29 SAM fluctuators, and then I'll be right with you on that. Because we can now unlock a thing that is probably worth unlocking. Oh, you know what? I can't do it right now. The machine can only be researching one thing at a time, and I have it decoding a hard drive, don't I? Well, I'll be able to do it soon. Yeah, we're working on that hard drive. But so yeah, there's all these different things. You unlock cool stuff. The hard drives. Every time you scan a hard drive, what it does is it unlocks a choice of alternative recipes for things. So if you find that your machines are like much more efficient at producing things, producing certain kinds of precursors than others, you can learn a recipe that will maybe work a little bit more cleanly. Like for example, this frame, this steel, this modular frame recipe that is 2 of these and 10 steel pipes instead of the iron rods is interesting. We already have, like, our iron rods are being used in a lot of different ways, and we have this supply of steel pipes that we're not using for anything. So this could be compelling, maybe. You can see I have not made a choice on even a single one of the hard drives I was given, because I really don't. This is probably worth doing, actually. We have a lot of steel pipes and stuff, and these are kind of a pain in the ass to make the other way. Yeah, we could be making steel rotors, because you need a lot of steel rotors. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and select that. But yeah, that's what the hard drives are for. So I guess yeah, let me go ahead and throw this thing that you've offered to me up on the screen.
I found on Reddit
somehow.
Yeah.
Let me yeah. I guess I'm gonna. Okay. Throw this in the old image folder and open it locally and then zoom it, because it's definitely a weird size. I don't know how they optimized the dimensions of this. They chose to make it a lot wider than I would have. Okay, here we go. So let me put this on the screen for y'all. This is the Mario family, a deep analysis to all known members of Mario and Luigi's family as seen throughout various media. I gotta be honest with you, title not encouraging.
Right.
So okay, so there's several characters here who are shown in the movie.
Okay, because I haven't seen.
Yeah, and this is the first Mario movie. I haven't seen the Mario Galaxy movie, but these characters are shown in the 2023 Mario movie. There's a scene where like Mario and Luigi are having dinner with their extended family. They're having like a big Italian,
Okay. And it does appear that at least two of those characters also existed in some form in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
I'm just being stopped dead in my tracks by Luigina and Aunt Luigina.
Yeah.
Where they felt they felt they need to put some female characters on the show, but they had the classic Monty Python problem, which is that they refused to hire women. So.
Well, they hired a woman to play Marilyn.
Yeah, my guess is Marilyn was probably a one episode, a one off.
So Xenon, we do have Grandpapa Pia Mario from the 1993 movie on there, so that also is accounted for. There's the 1993 movie, 2023 movie, the one that just came out, I guess. I don't remember Mario, Joe, and Luigi Bob, they're cousins, but I'm sure that was a fun adventure.
Based on Mario Joe's mustache and facial expression, I just feel like it cannot have come from a good place.
No.
Cannot be placed on the family tree due to their ambiguous relationship with the rest of the members. Amabel.
Yeah.
Do you remember there's a scene in Fight Club?
Yeah.
Never mind.
What's he in Fight Club?
Going back to the Factorio.
Okay.
There's a scene in Fight Club where a guy finds a thing on a photocopier and brings it to the narrator. And it's like, was this you? The first rule of Fight Club, blah, blah, blah. And he has a whole little speech there. And I'm not going to make any of that kind of speech to you. First of all, obviously I would never threaten you with violence. But the point is, maybe you don't need to bring us every piece of garbage you find on Reddit.
You know what? Though?
What?
That Mario family tree had less transphobia than what I usually find on Reddit.
All right, well. Thank heaven for small favors, I suppose. So check this out. Our machine is now backing up a little bit because like all of the stuff in the modular framework line has been efficiencyed up pretty good, and the steel beams are now the thing that's not coming in fast enough. We're only getting 22.5 steel beams in per minute. So I was able to just reach into the machine and pull out a bunch of modular frameworks, which is cool because our industrial manufacturing, milestone, wants 200 modular frameworks. So there we are for that. We're doing it slowly but surely. We're going to make this thing work. And then, again, when we complete that, that's going to give us access to the other two blueprints so we can start figuring out how to finish the space elevator, how to finish this phase of the space elevator. But that's a pretty distant thing. So that hard drive scan was completed. It has alternate designs in it for stators and circuit boards. Making a circuit board out of rubber and petroleum coke, which I do not eat. Okay. This is refinery shit. We gotta, the next thing is the refineries. We just gotta, that is the place to go from here. So I will be doing that. I may not drag y'all along with me. Since when says, I object, please show us everything you find on Reddit. Amending for maybe not the transphobic stuff.
What?
A lot of which says, wait, are we talking about Fight Club? I thought we were supposed to. Yeah, fair enough. Good point. Tyler's going to kick my ass. Oh, no. Hey, Amabel, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Amabel Holland, famously indifferent to and sometimes unable to perceive men.
Right. Yeah. This is good.
Brad Pitt at the end of Fight Club, after the whole thing has been revealed to the narrator and the narrator knows that he's, the whole deal. Hot or no? Any impact at all?
I don't find him
After he like has shaved his head and he's dressing all slutty, yeah. Whew.
That works for you?
Oh boy, that's the most attractive Brad Pitt has ever been, in my opinion.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Mario or Luigi? Who is more attractive to you?
Who is more attractive out of Mario or Luigi? Luigi.
No hesitation.
Please don't make me explain it. No hesitation. No, I knew. I had that loaded. But please don't make me explain it.
You can tell me later.
Okay. So yeah, I think we've got this as tight as this is getting. Like I said, there's nowhere to add. There's nowhere to add more slugs, because the thing that's slowing us down now is the amount of coal that's physically coming up that belt, and there's no way to change that without depriving the power plants of coal, which would then cause the machines not to be able to run, and that's actually an efficiency loss, if you can believe it. So yeah, I think it would be the case that what we would do now is start setting up another parallel machine, but that machine would have to be based on the existence of a coal mining node somewhere else. And as far as that goes, right, that's the one we're using. There is another one, 600. Oh, right, yeah, this is the other one that is being partially used by the. That's where the pipes are being built. And the next node after that is 1,600 meters that away. Although it is a whole bunch of coal nodes, so that's nice. So yeah, I would have probably the next thing would be like going out here and setting up another set of coal nodes, or just letting this run at this rate while I go to deal with the refinery. The design that I chose for the rotor, if I was trying to make steel rotors, it's pipes and wire. Like this machine's already taking the stuff for that. So I could just convert this. Start making steel rotors. And then I can just pipe this to a box somewhere for the moment. This doesn't even need to have a lift. Sorry, this is something I'm doing for a different reason. I will want these later. Just put down a storage container. Also, it hasn't been an issue here because I had a large amount of objects in my inventory, and then immediately after that I also deconstructed a bunch of stuff, so we had a lot of things. But the amount of stuff I built there was like a really non-trivial amount of resources. And early in the game, to just whip all that off, you'd be stopping after every machine to go back and handcraft stuff to make the parts for the next assembler, and it wouldn't be that easy early on. Anyway. Where's my car? Oh, where's my car? So I guess like when we're talking about setting up a new base somewhere else, you would just have to load yourself and your car trunk, which is like, sorry, my car's over here. How many spaces do I have in my car trunk? Myself and my car trunk and my dimensional depot, with all the things we're going to need while we're out there, because we just won't have access to stuff. And there's no way to create like a... well, I was going to say there's no way to create like a Resident Evil style item box, but I guess the depot is the box. Right.
Mm.
Amabel, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, it's the box.
And the thing is, I really need to acquire the upgrade that lets me manually upload stuff from my inventory. Okay, now the depot connection is effectively two-way.
Manual depot uploader unlocked. Storage dimension and pocket dimension now connected both ways and stable. Parts can now
That's
be
really good
uploaded
news.
to the storage dimension directly from the inventory.
But that still means that anything that's in a box back here is
Understands the
physically back
boundaries of the
here.
pocket dimension and recognizes the distinction between matter belonging to the Pioneer's inventory and matter belonging to the Pioneer.
The window within a window within the shallows within the deep, curling around itself separately, echoes strangely.
I'm sure strange is the correct term for what this must feel like to you.
Yeah. So, to continue upgrading that technology and make it like more useful as a multidimensional space, I need to pursue more upload speed upgrades so that I can transfer more things, as well as more stacking capacity, and all of the nodes that increase that stuff more and more, eventually making the the uploads nearly instant and stuff. Each thing in the tree requires more and more of those Mercer spheres. So again, this is a reward that is gained through exploration. So you are rewarded for going to all the places in the world and hunting out the Mercer spheres are sometimes just sitting on the beach, but also they tend to be in like a hidden cave will definitely have one, right? And so you are rewarded for sort of like doing all of the normal kind of like video game secret finding that you do in 3D environments. Yeah. This is my bed, my bedroom and stuff. This is the toilet. Plus E to interact with toilet. You can put things in the toilet. You can shove 100 steel plates into your toilet. This is my mug and my Fix-It brand toothpaste. No water, I guess, from the sink. Here's my microwave. It does that. You're not allowed to put steel plates in the microwave.
Okay.
Coffee machine makes a noise and then does that.
What is your favorite microwave in a video game?
The microwave in Half-Life where you can blow up the guy's lunch is pretty fun.
That's more fun than the microwave in Maniac Mansion where you can kill the hamster. That's not fun. I like yours better.
Here's a llama. Or an alpaca, perhaps. Some manner of dromedary. Oh, here's the company store, where I can buy things with Fix-It coupons. If I upload extra stuff to management, I earn coupons. And then I can buy things like power outlets and different kind of pipeline attachments. And mostly this stuff is just cosmetics. Like you can already create a personal storage box. This is just that thing, but yellow. But they do also let you like actually buy objects for in case you're like just really annoyed with having to run a particular recipe. You're just like, fuck it, just give me some biomass already. This is a whole system I basically haven't engaged with at all. I got enough tickets to buy the Fix-It factory cart, which is the first thing that's on the specials page when you buy it. You've seen the car. Let me go show you what the Fix-It factory cart looks like. I think I put it in my car's trunk. I did. So, the one and only Fix-It factory cart. Now with special Fix-It foundation only grip wheels for an even smoother and faster factory floor experience. So they're not really designed to operate in the wilderness. Here, we'll start it on a factory floor. Where is there? The only factory floor is at the hub, though. No, this will be fine. We'll start it on a fix-it factory floor so you can see it in its true majesty, and then we'll drive it around a little bit more than that. So let's put it down right here. So that's the factory cart. Just jam myself in there. That's what that is like.
Okay.
All right. Woo, yeah. This is the maximum turning speed, by the way. I'm turning left. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh, wow.
Turning radius. Bad on grass. It don't drive real good on the grass.
What happens if you drive off the cliff?
Amabel Holland. Stop trying to die. Stop trying to get me to die. I was going to say, stop trying to die me as a verb. So here's my little cart. I'm having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it. Oh, yeah. Woo. Turn it. Oh, God. Ah.
That's what happens. Okay.
So it's not functional as a way of climbing up grades, as you can see here. It doesn't really turn once you get any speed at all. It tips over very easily because it's extremely top heavy. But you can record paths and program them in and then have it like auto drive you places. So that's something in theory, if it can do that. I'm turning right as hard, like literally as hard as I can right now. You can see the little thing on the back indicating that I am not trying to drive straight. And it falls over at a moment's notice. It's actually doing remarkably well right now, holding onto its footing, but it falls over at a moment's notice. So after that, I decided, just pack that back up. After that, I decided I was done buying things from the company store.
Yeah.
And I have not really looked into it since. Okay. So I don't know exactly what impure means. I think these deposits out here would output at either like 2/3 or half the rate of the normal deposit that we have in the base. So obviously that's pretty non-ideal for actual machining. We would probably just have to like basically network them together and treat them as one extractor. Not so good. I should machine that. Anyway, I think we'll wrap up the stream.
Okay.
Don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for streaming with me. It's always a good time to be on the stream with you. And thank you, chat, for hanging out with us.
Lana the Witch says the cart can be auto-loaded, so you can there's machinery that allows you to like load things in and out of vehicles with like automated loading docks. And if you noticed, it does have one inventory space. So you could use it as a very bad transport truck, if you wanted to. Just never have to step in it yourself, which I guess already improves the experience. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I thought that would maybe be an interesting thing for to do with people, and I thought also it might be more interesting for me to do it with people. So thank y'all for helping me work through my factory anxiety. When you come back next time, of course, there's more stuff coming up this week. We're gonna definitely win our game of Amber Spire. It's coming. It's happening. It's very soon. There are still so many aliens to kill in Phoenix Point. I'm getting to the point where I would like there to be fewer aliens to kill, and hopefully that's something that we're working on. And then, of course, we will continue hacking away at all of our other stuff, including Deus Ex, including La Mulana. And of course, on Sunday, there will be another stream. Very exciting. Don't even know what it will be yet. So come back then to banish the suspense. I'm going to leave you in it until. And we'll see you then.